I get out of the taxi at the Megaplex, enter the rotating brass door, and ask the auto directory for DocRx. A helper says, door number 1. I enter the standard white Habby room and look at the blank wall. The sign, erectile augmentation, appears on my InVision. I tell the helper, I was looking for autotherapy. The sign changes to autotherapeutics, credit cancer. A panel opens in the wall and a couch rolls out. An autotherapist appears on my InVision and says, I'm DocRx. Please make yourself comfortable. I sit on the edge of the couch. Please lie down. It's more relaxing. How do you feel now? Well, I'm a little upset. The auto doctor looks concerned. Why do you feel upset? I tell him, my girlfriend disappeared. I lost my Habby home. I think I have bid poison. I'm struggling with credit cancer. I was nearly killed 3 times in less than a week, and I was skinned in public. How should I feel? He tells me, safe, Vinny. I want you to feel perfectly safe. Well, I'd like to feel safe. He makes a note of that and tells me, feeling safe is certainly something we can work on. But getting you to the point where you really feel safe, now that's going to take some hard work on your part. You have to realize that no one can feel safe for you. Now your referral says you've been having bad dreams. Tell me about that. I dream about thinking about myself. In my dreams, while I think I'm fine, and I actually feel okay deep down, I really am terrified. And when I wake, just remembering the dream makes me sick. Tell me more about that. The dreams are horrible. I dream that I'm getting skinned. Do you know, I actually got skinned? I mean, how sick is that? Yes, on the quiz show. Everyone knows that. Perhaps we can find the cause. Tell me, Vinny, why did you feel you had to gamble your precious skin in a public spectacle like that? I was desperate for money. This whole thing, the credit cancer, everything, you know, it's all about money. I can understand your concern, he says. I've had a look at your credit rating. How do you feel about that? I mean, your money problems. I feel terrible. It's like I'm no better than trash. Have you ever said, charge it at a food slot only to have your credit status blink red? That's a very sickening feeling. You know, Vinny, I think you may have hit on something. Let's probe a little deeper. You said you feel terrible, and I can understand that. But what I want to know is, how does that make you really feel? Feeling terrible? Yes. How does feeling terrible actually make you feel? Just awful. And feeling this awful makes you feel, well, even worse, because the more I feel, the worse I feel. So, Vinny, do you see a pattern here? No? Let me help you. What I hear you saying is that you feel terrible. Now, maybe it's because of the money thing or whatever, but it sounds to me, at the very heart of this, you're missing something. And it's this vacancy in your life that may be the cause of your sickness. And if so, it would be very understandable that the worse you feel, the more awful are your feelings. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing is eating you up alive. It is, I tell him. That's exactly what it's like. It's like being eaten alive. So now, do you see a pattern? Like feeling bad makes me feel even worse? Exactly. And when you feel worse, tell me, Vinny, who is it that is really feeling so bad? Me, I tell him. And who is feeling the feelings that make this all so unbearable? Me. I'm feeling them. They hurt me. So then, at the heart of it, I get it, I tell him. It's really all about money. Vinny, put money out of your mind for the present if you can, because right now, in the here and now, it's imperative that we concentrate on you. Try to stay focused. Now, what is the common thread in all of this? Tell me again. Who is at the center of your problem? Me? Yes, it is you. And you know what I think? I think we've just made a momentous breakthrough. You know, for most of my patients, gaining this kind of insight takes years of autotherapy. And you put your finger on it in your very first session. You are the central element in all of your suffering. You are the feeler of the feelings that are making you sick. Earlier, you said this was all about money. But it's not about money at all, is it, Vinny? It's all about you. So, I am my problem? I can tell that he's really pleased with what I'm saying and confirms it. That's what I just heard you say. And when I'm dreaming that I'm being skinned, and when I actually got skinned, well, the actual skinning business is a whole other thing we could get into next time. We can set up your next appointment as soon as you come up with a treatment payment plan. I tell him, I have insurance. You might want to double check that. Your insurance may not cover self-inflicted injury. After all, it was you who chose to get skinned, wasn't it? No one made you do it. But let's focus on the positive. Today has been a real red letter day. Now that you know what to focus on, and what is it we're focusing on? Me? Yes, Vinny, that's right. It's all about you. I check news now as I ride home in the auto taxi. Star killing update. A news thing says, bounty boats cornered runaway Billy Boy man after a hair-raising sea chase through the Florida Keys. Dockside, a pair of auto cops hustle handcuffed Boyman into a waiting auto van. News things say, star killing. News now, or before it even happens. Star killing. Crime worth watching. Another news thing reports, the Department of Agriculture selects Fab Corn International as the sole supplier of seed corn for ethanol. But with oil reserves dwindling, our growing addiction to ethanol, and farmland already planted to the max, agronomists are asking, how are we ever going to grow all that corn? Now in a related story, Energetics, the oil giant, has launched a hostile takeover bid for Fab Corn. If successful, the corporate coup will make Energetics the undisputed world leader in production and distribution of corn, in addition to its domination of petroleum and gas. President Stickman is asked by a news thing if he thinks Energetics is in violation of antitrust laws. The president says, "Are you kidding? I'm already blowing up countries just to get the energy we need, and you're asking me to worry about monopolies? Look, If this industrial optimization can save our bacon, don't think even for a second that I'm going to stand in the way. I take a call from my auto broker. Energetics just spiked more than 100%. How does it feel to be twice as rich as you were 5 minutes ago? I told you, Vinny, the way this thing is going. I thank him, click him off, and check my credit rating. My icon is steady red. I call Money Matters. Good afternoon, Mr. Vanilla, says the credit helper. I'm pretty miffed, and I tell her, hey, look, I have this energetic stock and it just doubled, so how come my credit is still in the trash? I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Let me check that for you. Did you know that stock has a lien against it as collateral for an outstanding loan? I'm paying off the loan, I tell her. That's good. When you clear that up, be sure to let us know right away, okay? I call InvisiBank. New accounts. She says, I hear things are looking up for you. I tell her, you know that little $5,000 loan? I want to pay it off right now. Okay, let me see. That was $5,000 principal at interest of 500% per month, putting up collateral of everything you have or will ever have, including the full faith and credit of all of your fungible body parts, which comes to $30,000, notwithstanding contingencies. Fine, I say. I'll pay the whole thing. Now? She asks. Now. You recall there's a 34% early payment penalty? Sure, whatever, I'll pay it. So what's the bottom line? With the early payment penalty, just a moment, that comes to $32,552,261. It's a $5,000 loan, for crying out loud. Yes, Mr. Vanilla, with an early repayment penalty. You do recall that the penalty was 34%? So, when you add on that early repayment penalty of 34% per day, compounded daily for the 30-day loan period, along with the principal and interest, yes, that comes to $32,552,261. Do the math yourself if you like. But that's only if you decide to pay early. You can always just wait and pay the $30,000 on the due date if you want to avoid the penalty. You do expect to be around on the due date, don't you, Mr. Vanilla? You seem upset. Look, as you stand now, you're really pretty lucky. You still have your blood and most of your skin. I end the call. I am really upset. Then I get a call from Vida. She tells me, it's time, Vinny. The auto limo is on the way. I'm in the presidential auto chopper, skimming along the treetops of Camp David as I talk to Ice on my Envision. Man, they just pulled up in this auto limo and told me to get in. Can you believe it? I'm actually going to meet President Stickman. Ice changes the subject. Vinny, did you get the bid poison test? No, things have been crazy around here, and besides I figured, she says, get tested, Vinny. We're landing. She says it again. Get tested. I run to clear the prop wash and am greeted by a presidential helper on my Envision. He leads me down a path through the bungalows under the pines. I enter a rustic room with overstuffed furniture and a large stone fireplace. Trophy heads of the world's largest surviving mammals line the wall. Helper says, please be seated. The president will be with you shortly. Vida comes on in vision. We're banking on you, Vinny. Her image is joined by President Stickman. I jump to attention and salute his projection before me. No need to be formal, Vinny. Please make yourself at home. You know, I've been following your work for some time now, and it's a pleasure to finally meet you. I reply, I can't tell you what an honor, sir. He gets to the point. Stalking justice? Very impressive. Tell me, Vinny, how did you come up with that anyway? I was just thinking about good and evil, especially about evil and the fundamental human urge to get even with evil. Just how good that really feels. And that got me to thinking about our consumers and their innate and profound desire to conquer evil. Well, it just came to me in a flash. Why not give consumers real control of the battle against evil and how they feel about it? And then it came to me that I could combine this rush with their actual, in-the-flesh lives so that they could actually take on evil and take it down whenever they wanted, just by playing the game. I mean, I was just thinking, sir. The president says, and that's exactly the kind of thinking we're looking for, Vinny. That Hammerman is a real piece of work. And Stilletta, I'm telling you, I zeroed in on that tattooed head the very second I laid eyes on her. Oh, thank you, sir. You're a real artist, really and truly. You definitely got the knack. And Vinny, sir, I need your help. So, I'm going to ask you something man to man. But bear in mind, if there's any problem whatsoever, if you have even the slightest reservation, you don't even have to explain. I'll understand completely. Sir, what I'm asking is, Vinny, can I count on you? Oh, Mr. President, I can't tell you what an honor. Well, that sounds like yes to me. Oh, yes, sir. You certainly can count on me. Stickman says, thank you. And his image disappears. Vida says, fantastic. Wow, I tell her, I can't believe it. Actually meeting the president? She laughs. Did you think that was actually the president? The presidential chopper sweeps in low over the derelict buildings along the riverfront and drops me in the street near the entrance to the flea market. I walk along the graffitied building to the crack in the wall and squeeze through. Inside, business is heavier than before. A line of customers is queued in front of the old lady candy seller. Her inventory now includes rows of gas cans. She's filling from a drum on a pushcart. Across the way, the insurance guy is standing in front of a Bradley fighting vehicle from the last century. I ask him, what's with the antique tank? He says, insecurity insurance, and then asks, tell me, do you ever feel insecure? Like maybe you're not quite sure your home will be there when you go home? Well, once this baby is your home, you can say goodbye to insecurity forever. Caressing the tank treads, he tells me, combo mobile home and bomb shelter. When mayhem comes knocking, even if they level the whole darn block, you can rest assured that you're always able to drive this hum-hum out of harm's way and sleep like a baby without a care in the world. With an inch and a half of carbon steel wrapped around you, pillar to post, believe me, No matter what trouble's going on outside, inside, you'll have no trouble at all. And for those quick getaway vacations, it's an RV to boot. Fully reworked with the deluxe high-impact camper package. You got a white finish Happy Home inside and armor plate outside. Beauty and comfort that's hard as nails. Speaking of personal comfort, it's fully equipped with an odor-retardant chemical toilet that's spill-resistant from the shock of roadside bombs, and water tanks that can hold enough for 6 occupants for a week, or, if you prefer, for one incredible to-die-for hot shower. He asks, care to give it a look-see? And offers me a boost up to the hatch. I tell him, thanks, but right now, I'm looking for a doctor. What kind of doctor? Actually, I need a medical test. He winks at me. Did you pick up a little smoogie that you hadn't counted on? I tell him, it's for a friend. Look, let me suggest AltMed. They're right over there, through that crack in the wall, and down the stairs. I slide through the opening and descend a dim stairwell. At the bottom is a door with a hand-painted sign, Emergent Care. Inside, the standard hobby room is empty, except for a small steel table and a chair. The table is bare except for a shiny 2-inch red and white bullseye in the center. A Medi-helper in a lab coat appears on my Envision. What's wrong with you? He asks, blunt as blunt can be. Well, it's about testing for bid poison. I was wondering who should get tested. Everyone. Well, of course everyone, but actually, no buts about it, everybody needs to get tested, and the sooner the better. Okay, how much for the test? It's free. Nothing is free, I tell him. Cost you nothing. That's all there is to it. Okay then, I'd like to make an appointment for a test. When can I come in for a test? He says. Now. I was thinking there might be some need for preparation, time to collect a stool or urine sample, some semen perhaps? Nope. Just put your finger on the bullseye. Now? Right now. I make a gesture toward the target, but pull back. He tells me, I'll bet you're afraid to find out, and afraid not to find out. Aren't you? People are all the same. All I can say is there's only one way to find out. I put my index finger on the circle. Okay, what's next? That's it. So then, I can come back tomorrow for the results? Sure, you can come back tomorrow. What time? Now. You mean the same time tomorrow? No, the same time now. Your results are ready now. Now? Well, so then okay. And the results are? You have bid poison. You mean just like that? There's no other way to have a disease than to have it, and you got it. So, what you're telling me is I actually have bid poison? Yes, you do. I say, of course, like with everything else, sometimes there are false positives and retesting is required. That's right, isn't it? Never. Well, a test like this, it's bound to be complex, isn't it? No, simple as pie. The same old standard issue, sloughed cell, touch test we've been using for more than half a century. You tested positive, and that's all there is to it. Here, I'll show you. 2 columns of 1s and 0s roll down my Envision and stop. See? right there, where the ones and zeros are mismatched. That's the problem, plain as pudding. You have bid poison. But how is this possible? He explains. As I'm sure you know, everybody gets a DNA snapshot at birth. And you're taught that your DNA is fixed at conception. I offer, after all, DNA doesn't lie. Ah, so it seems, and so it seems. Everyone assumes it's safe to bet that the snapshot is the unique and unvarying code of exactly who you are and who you're going to be for the rest of your life. The national security system is based on this and uses simple doorknob testing technology to verify that you're who you think you are on a daily basis. Did you know every time you open a door, the DNA in your skin cells is compared with your childhood bioprint? No? Well, it is, and it's foolproof and 100% effective at weeding out anyone with a mismatched bio-ID. But I am me, so there must be something wrong. Of course there is something wrong. There's a fundamental skewing error in the program. Something that could have been fixed and should have been fixed at the get-go. But now the cow is out of the barn and it's way too late for fixing. But I insist, I haven't changed. Of course you've changed. Everybody changes. You think only species evolve? With all the toxins and viruses floating around, your DNA evolves right along with the rest of you. You're mutating every second as you live and breathe. You mean I'm a mutant? No, you've just evolved, that's all. Well, if it's true of everything, not everything. Once your bioidentity is recorded at birth, that snapshot in the system never changes. But you said I change. Yes, and I'm afraid you've changed just a little too much, because with your DNA out of kilter like it is, you have bid poison. And with a mismatch like yours, you could be anybody, an imposter, even an evilist for all anyone knows. I'm not. Go tell that to security. But if it's just a skewing error, that could be fixed. Of course it could be fixed, technically speaking. Just update the chip, a quickie implant, bingo, you're good to go. Theoretically, it couldn't be more simple. Well then, he stops me. Look, think about it. Bioidentity is the Platin identity standard for everyone in the whole world. Now, what would happen if all those billions of people were to lose confidence in their bio-IDs? If they were told that the system's flaky? They wouldn't know who they are anymore. Precisely. But this must be fixed. Sure. And what politician is going to tell people that they're not actually who they think they are? That nobody is? Can you imagine the chaos? It would be the end of civilization as we know it. But there must be a lot of people with bid poison. Not just me. Oh yeah. You know those people who look down when you pass them on the street? Trash, I tell them. You get it. But the government, I say. Believe me, the government has enough problems with things just as they are. And it isn't looking for any more trouble. The government's solution to this is simple. There is no such thing as bid poison, and if there ever was, it was wiped out long, long ago. But if the system is flaky, I'd be careful who I say that to if I were you. You don't want to get noticed. I protest. Even if they won't fix the system, there must be some way to fix me. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly fine. But but there must be something that can be done. It's good you're thinking positively, because as the facts stand, you are going to have to live with bid poison just as long as you can. I don't know what to do, I tell him. He advises me, all you really can do is try to get along as best you can. Things are going to be tougher from now on, so you better lower your expectations. Victims learn to cope. Not all of them, but some. They get creative. Some find work cleaning toilets in marginal countries. There was a guy in here the other day selling dog meat. So don't think your back is to the wall. Remember, you're not the only sickie out there. Seek out other victims, because the more you're with others like yourself, the more you'll discover that you're not alone.